Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of sources, grab the biggest knowledge nuggets, and deliver them straight to you, the listener, so you can be instantly well-informed.
And our mission today is all about achieving that true, effortless fluency in English.
It is. We are focusing on more than just, dictionary definitions this time.
Right. We are really trying to cut through the noise by providing the structural blueprint and the subtle context that makes casual English communication really stick and sound natural.
Absolutely. Today, we are taking a fascinating and I think a deeply practical detour into communication itself. We're diving into source material that's designed specifically to help English learners master casual daily conversation.
It's basically a complete lesson plan.
It is. On how to sound natural when you were just chatting about your day. I mean, that critical low-stakes environment where most real language practice actually happens. Yeah. So our mission is to extract the most practical language shortcuts, the nuanced vocabulary, and all those structural insights that are kind of hidden within this conversational blueprint. We want to give you the tools not just to understand a conversation, but to actually drive one.
And what's so fascinating here is that the sources don't just teach isolated vocabulary or phrases.
No.
They meticulously model the underlying structure of a relatable, everyday exchange. And communication effectiveness, it really hinges not just on the words you use, but the order you present information in, the emotional journey you take your listener on.
That's a great way to put it.
We will look at how this conversation moves, logically from discussing a challenging work update to sharing some lighthearted pet stories, and then finally settling on minor daily annoyances before it closes out.
And understanding that smooth, natural flow is it's absolutely crucial for achieving that conversational fluency.
It is.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have two major areas to explore that when you combine them, they turn simple statements into smooth, natural conversation. First, the high-value practical vocabulary.
Right. Those words that give precision to your descriptions.
And second, the essential fluency-building phrases and idioms that are in the dialogue. Those shortcuts that make you sound like a native speaker.
So where do we start?
Let's start right at the beginning by looking at how this conversation even gets going without resorting to that dreaded, "what's up?" When you're talking to a friend or a colleague casually, the start can sometimes be the hardest part, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We all dread that awkward silence that follows the obligatory, how are you, fine, how are you exchange.
It's a conversational dead end.
It is.
Yeah.
But the source material gives us this brilliant, friendly conversational opener that immediately bypasses all that small talk. It's just, what's the funniest thing that happened to you this week?
And that is so effective because it instantly sets a light, open tone, and it changes the linguistic task entirely. Well, instead of asking for a dry status update that just demands a one-word answer, it prompts a story.
A story, right?
And stories, especially short, humorous ones, they're the true currency of good casual conversation. By asking for the funniest thing, you immediately encourage the other person to share something maybe a little vulnerable, something that involves laughter and connection.
It's a fantastic technique for building rapport so quickly.
It is.
And the beauty is that the sources provide two fantastic, fully developed examples of these anecdote styles. They are chosen specifically because they are short, they're highly relatable, and critically, a little self-deprecating.
You, the speaker, are the butt of the joke.
Exactly, which immediately lowers the conversational stakes and just makes you more approachable.
So the first example involves a moment of just pure physical comedy. The difficulty of lifting a huge watermelon at the grocery store.
This is brilliant because it's universally understandable. I mean, it deals with a minor public embarrassment combined with a physical struggle. We've all been there.
And the detailed description is what makes it work. It says, turns out I couldn't even lift it. I nearly toppled over and everyone stared.
Right. The specific failure nearly toppling over, that's the punchline.
Exactly. This teaches the learner that you don't need a grand, elaborate joke to be funny. Minor, relatable failures work best in casual chat.
It's an example of using humor that comes from a minor failure or misjudgment. I mean, no matter where you are, if you try to lift something too heavy and fail spectacularly, sharing that experience instantly makes you relatable.
And this type of self-effacing humor is just deeply embedded in American conversational culture. It says, I don't take myself too seriously, let's laugh together.
Then you have the second anecdote, which is all about a moment of surprise and rapid improvisation. Accidentally running half a mile in a marathon because the speaker took a shortcut through a park.
And this one relies entirely on the element of the unexpected.
Totally.
The listener imagines a person just minding their own business, walking through a park, and then suddenly realizing they're inadvertently part of a long-distance race.
And the source material even includes the friend joking that the speaker should have just committed and finished the race.
Which is such a natural, friendly response.
It is.
And this scenario teaches a key lesson in conversational storytelling. The element of surprise, coupled with that need to quickly improvise or escape a ridiculous situation, is always engaging. It generates immediate, positive, emotional feedback from your listener.
So if you're looking to sound more fluent, remember these examples. They show you how to transition smoothly into the main conversation without feeling awkward.
You lead with a quick, funny story.
A soft launch, as we might call it, before diving into the heavier, more serious topics like work stress or relationship updates. This structural technique just provides immediate momentum. Okay, so once the ice is broken with a laugh, the conversation immediately shifts to a core daily topic.
Yeah.
Work updates.
Right, this is where we move from light humor to expressing a realistic challenge.
And the speaker jumps in with that classic dramatic setup designed to hook the listener. You won't believe what happened at work today. And the big news is that the boss finally spilled the beans about the new project.
And that phrase, spilled the beans, is the first major idiom we encounter, and it's a perfect illustration of how fluent speakers use figurative language to add a little flavor.
So what does it mean exactly?
It means to reveal a secret or disclose information that was meant to be confidential or previously unknown.
Okay.
It immediately signals that this piece of information, the new project, had been held back, creating a little build-up and drama for the listener. It sort of implies that the information was released perhaps a bit suddenly or even reluctantly.
The conversation then moves to describing this project, which is called a huge marketing campaign that is going to be a game changer for the company.
And that description is vital. It establishes a high-stakes, positive outcome. The project is valuable, it's impactful, it's clearly important.
Which justifies the effort that's about to be described.
Exactly. But here is the structural pivot. This positive, high-stakes outcome is immediately contrasted with the current effort required. The friend's response to the project is the critical phrase. That sounds exciting and daunting at the same time.
And this introduces one of our key vocabulary words to the day, daunting.
It does.
So let's dedicate some serious time to daunting. When something is described as daunting, what does that really mean?
It means it seems difficult to deal with, intimidating, or just overwhelming in its scale or complexity.
It perfectly captures that dual feeling of enthusiasm mixed with a fear of failure or just the sheer workload that big projects inspire.
Yes. It's much stronger and way more specific than just saying difficult.
Right.
Absolutely. And think about the common collocations for this word. You have a daunting task, a daunting prospect, or a daunting challenge.
So if you use it to describe a test,
You're saying the amount of material is intimidating. If you use it to describe a goal, you are saying the effort required feels almost insurmountable. It's a very high-level, precise adjective for conveying a complex emotional and logistical hurdle at the same time.
it tells your listener, I am excited, but I also understand the severity of the commitment.
Precisely.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, linking back to fluency. The speaker now needs to express the required effort using truly natural, fluent English, not just, I am working hard. They use two complementary fluency phrases that perfectly summarize their current state. First, I've been burning the midnight oil to get a head start.
Burning the midnight oil. This idiom means working late into the night, often well past the usual bedtime hours.
The historical image is so vivid, isn't it?
It is. It references the time when people used oil lamps to see while working or studying late, sacrificing sleep. In modern casual conversation, it just communicates intense, focused, sustained effort that requires staying up late.
And the speaker uses it here to justify the workload required to get a head start on this massive, daunting project. It's a fantastic shorthand for dedication.
It really is.
And what is the immediate natural consequence of burning the midnight oil?
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion. That leads us directly to the second fluency phrase, the goal for the end of the day. Honestly, I can't wait to hit the sack tonight.
To hit the sack is such a wonderfully casual, relaxed phrase for going to bed or going to sleep.
It implies a strong readiness for rest.
A very strong readiness. It's definitely not formal language. You wouldn't use it in a business memo, but you absolutely use it with friends, family, or close colleagues when you're just tired.
It's physical, you're tired, and you just want to collapse into bed.
Yes.
By pairing burning the midnight oil with hitting the sack, the speaker provides this complete and natural narrative arc for their workday.
A full story.
Right. I worked intensely and late, burning the oil. Therefore, I am extremely ready for bed, hitting the sack. This combination of idioms effectively communicates a deserved state of exhaustion after intense effort. It paints a vivid picture for the listener.
And this is a crucial element of fluency, linking cause and effect using idiomatic language.
Yeah.
And just to add a little context, if they wanted to sound slightly more formal, they might say something like, I've been working tirelessly and look forward to turning in early.
But burning the midnight oil and hitting the sack are just quicker, more emotional, and much more conversational.
Absolutely.
This transition is a hallmark of truly casual conversation.
Yeah.
You're switching gears quickly from heavy topics like work stress and daunting projects to light, relatable humor.
Yes. The friend recognizes the exhaustion and smoothly moves the topic to something lighter and more personal. Pets. They say, you deserve it. By the way, how's your dog doing?
Shifting to pets is such a safe, universal conversational haven, especially when you're discussing a friend's personal life.
It is. And the dog, Max, is introduced, but he comes with a caveat, confirming he is a source of minor chaos. He did chew up my favorite shoes yesterday.
Of course he did.
And this immediately leads the second friend to introduce our next vocabulary word while simultaneously expressing the owner's deep affection.
And that vocabulary word is pamper. The friend suggests the owner might pamper Max too much, implying the dog is spoiled, which leads to the destructive behavior.
Exactly. The definition of pamper is key here. To treat someone with a lot of care and attention, often to the point of spoiling them or indulging their needs beyond what is necessary.
It usually has positive connotations, right? Like a spa day.
It does, but when you apply it to pets or children who are causing trouble, it introduces a slight humorous negative layer. The idea is, I love him so much that I enable his bad behavior.
And the owner's response confirms this complex feeling. Guilty as charged, but he's just so lovable.
It's perfect.
It demonstrates how language can convey these complex relationships. The dog is a nuisance, but the spoiling is rooted entirely in love. If you want to describe treating yourself or others with luxury, this is the perfect verb.
And speaking of pet peril, the conversation immediately ramps up the drama with the story about Sarah's cat. This is the moment of high, yet universally relatable anxiety.
It is.
And this shift in emotional tone keeps the conversation from settling into a monotonous rhythm.
Absolutely. The detail here is almost dramatic. The cat decided to take a nap inside the washing machine.
I can't even imagine.
And the owner almost started the cycle with the cat inside, described in the dialogue as a close call.
A close call is such an essential noun phrase for describing a near disaster, an event where something terrible almost happened but was narrowly avoided.
Right. It describes a situation where the outcome was nearly negative, but fate or just timing intervened.
It creates instant shared tension, even though we know the cat is fine. Other examples of a close call might be narrowly missing a car accident or forgetting your passport right before leaving for the airport but catching it at the very last second.
The role of this relatable peril is so crucial for bonding. Both friends immediately acknowledge that cats do get into the strangest places, which demonstrates that shared experience.
And this structural element shows how humor and mild shock are used in these quick, sharp anecdotes to maintain high engagement in a casual exchange.
It provides a quick, thrilling anecdote that allows both participants to feel shared empathy and amusement. The key is that the danger is resolved quickly, ensuring the conversation stays light.
Exactly.
Okay, so after the drama of the near-drowned cat, the conversation naturally shifts back to the second Friends Day.
Right.
And since the first Friends Day was so high-octane, you had the daunting project, the close call with the cat, the second friend describes their experience as a contrast.
They say it was pretty uneventful, to be honest, just the usual grind.
And this introduces another critical vocabulary word, uneventful.
It means that nothing interesting or exciting happened. The day was boring or routine. This word is highly functional because it manages expectations.
Right. When you tell a listener your day was uneventful, you are signaling, don't expect a thrilling story. It was typical.
And it creates a powerful conversational rhythm. By contrasting the first friend's chaotic, daunting day with the second friend's uneventful day, the conversation grounds itself in reality.
Some days are thrilling, others are just the usual grind.
Exactly. And it's important to know this word because using boring can sometimes sound negative, whereas uneventful simply implies stability or routine.
However, even an uneventful day contains minor annoyances, and acknowledging those is another hallmark of casual communication. In this case, it was the coffee shop mix-up.
A mix-up is a critical vocabulary item for describing daily frustrations. It's defined as a mistake that happens because things are confused, mismanaged, or accidentally swapped.
We use it frequently when talking about orders, reservations, or appointments.
We do. And in the coffee shop story, the speaker ordered a latte but received a mocha instead. The detail here is perfect for relating to the listener. They didn't realize the mistake until I took a big sip.
That immediate confusion, realizing the taste is wrong, is a tiny, shared moment of modern life that everyone experiences.
It is. A mix-up is usually a mistake of identity or quantity, where two things are confused for one another.
But the key takeaway here isn't the error itself, it's the reaction to it. The friend doesn't dwell on the mistake. They model how to reframe it positively.
Right. The response from the first friend is, "At least you got a free upgrade," leading to the second friend's conclusion, "I guess it was a win-win situation."
And analyzing that structural choice is vital for fluency.
A win-win situation means both sides benefit, or at least no one significantly loses. The speaker is putting a positive spin on a minor error. By using this phrase, they maintain the light, casual mood rather than descending into a complaint session.
Which is a conversational goal. Acknowledge the annoyance, but find the positive angle to keep the discussion buoyant. But the day wasn't done inflicting minor torture. The conversation climaxes with an element of classic bad luck. The rain incident.
Right. The speaker got caught in the rain without an umbrella and was soaked to the bone.
Soaked to the bone is our final powerful fluency phrase in this dialogue. It's a hyperbolic phrase meaning intentionally exaggerated that means to be extremely wet.
It emphasizes that the water has soaked through all layers of clothing and perhaps even left you chilled. It is a very visceral description, communicating a state of utter, miserable saturation far beyond just being damp or wet.
The narrative then concludes by summarizing the day's trials. Sounds like one of those days. And the closing wish for a better tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
And fingers crossed is the perfect nonverbal conversational signal to end this specific narrative arc. It expresses hope for a positive outcome in the future, often after a string of bad luck or exhaustion.
It signals the end of the narrative by wrapping up the negative experiences with optimism, which is a common and friendly way to close out a report on a tough day.
It's a great phrase to signal future intent or hope.
Okay, we've seen these 4 power words in context, but now we're putting them under the microscope.
Let's do a deep dive.
Yes. Using these correctly instantly elevates your everyday conversation from basic descriptions to nuanced natural fluency. We are going into deep detail to ensure you, the listener, understand exactly how and when to deploy these terms for maximum effect.
So we'll start again with daunting. It is a word of scale. As we discussed, it's about feeling overwhelmed or intimidated by a challenge.
It communicates that the scale, complexity, or just the sheer difficulty of a task makes it seem frighteningly difficult before you even start.
It implies a significant psychological hurdle that must be overcome.
Let's expand on its usage in context. When you use daunting, you usually use it to describe a non-physical challenge, right? Even if it has a physical component.
That's a great point. You wouldn't typically call lifting a small box daunting, but you would call moving an entire house daunting.
Okay, that makes sense.
And let's look closely at the source examples to grasp the specific contexts. The source tells us, the climb up the mountain was daunting.
Here, the word describes the sheer physical and psychological challenge of a huge obstacle. The height, the endurance needed, all those factors make the task daunting.
Then, shifting from the physical to the social, the source also mentions, speaking in front of a large audience can be daunting for many people.
And the intimidation here comes from the fear of public exposure, judgment, or performance anxiety, which can make that moment feel paralyzing or overwhelming.
And finally, the logistical application, which we saw in the dialogue. The amount of homework he had to do over the weekend was daunting.
This is about sheer volume. When a quantity of work is so massive that it seems impossible to finish in the time allotted, it is daunting.
So a key takeaway for learners. Use daunting when you want to signal that the task is large enough to inspire both respect and a little bit of fear.
Next up, the word that describes the exact opposite of a chaotic, daunting day. Uneventful.
Uneventful is crucial for describing routine life and maintaining neutrality. It means that nothing interesting, exciting, or notable happened, that the period was routine, steady, or perhaps a little boring.
It's a word that is often used to reassure. For example, if you ask about a sick relative's recovery, and the response is, "The night was uneventful," that means they slept well without incident, which is a good thing.
That's a perfect example. And the sources offered 3 practical scenarios for this. First, my flight was uneventful.
Which is often the highest praise you can give a flight. You want an uneventful journey, no severe turbulence, no delays, no drama.
Just smooth transit. Exactly. The second scenario focuses on a professional process. The meeting was uneventful with no major decisions made.
If a meeting is uneventful, it was likely long, possibly tedious, and lacked any important or unexpected developments. It was just procedural.
Yes. And lastly, using it to describe leisure time. They had an uneventful trip, just enjoying the scenery and relaxing.
So here, uneventful is descriptive, not necessarily negative. It just means the trip was peaceful and smooth, without any crises or high adventure.
It's a useful alternative to saying boring, which can be more judgmental. Uneventful manages expectations politely.
Okay, moving on. Our third power word is pamper.
This word carries a strong connotation of indulgence and special attention, often appearing when discussing pets, children, or self-care, as we saw in the Max the dog story.
When you pamper someone, you treat them with a lot of care and attention, often spoiling them. It's generally used in a positive way to describe giving someone extra special treatment.
Treatment they might not strictly need, but certainly might enjoy or deserve.
Right.
And it's important to understand the transitive nature of this verb. You can pamper someone else, or you can pamper yourself.
Yeah.
Let's look at the context provided by the source examples. For self-care, she loves to pamper herself with a spa day every month.
Notice the reflexive use. The action reflects back on the subject. This shows a deliberate action of treating oneself luxuriously.
For children, it's about generosity. Parents often pamper their children with treats and gifts. This implies going above and beyond to make the children feel special and comfortable, sometimes with the mild consequence of spoiling them.
And of course, the context from our dialogue. He likes to pamper his dog with gourmet food and cozy beds.
This demonstrates using luxury and comfort to show affection for a pet. To pamper is to indulge someone, elevating their comfort and care beyond the basic requirements.
Finally, let's nail down mix-up, a functional word you will use frequently in daily conversation, because, as we established, errors are inevitable.
A mix-up is a mistake that happens because things are confused, mismanaged, or accidentally swapped. It is almost always used as a noun, describing the situation where 2 or more things are incorrectly identified or handled.
And it tends to be a relatively mild error, usually caused by carelessness rather than malice.
Right. We have 3 clear examples of common organizational mix-ups. First, the stress of travel. There was a mix-up with our hotel reservation, so we had to wait for a room.
This is so common when booking systems fail, or communication between staff is poor, resulting in confusion over who gets which room.
Second, something with more serious potential. The mix-up at the pharmacy led to him getting the wrong medication.
Here, the confusion has significant, though hopefully avoided, consequences. The crucial element is the confusion between 2 similar things. 2 names, 2 prescriptions, 2 dates.
Exactly. And the third example, focusing on the sheer error of dates and timing. She missed her flight because of a mix-up with the travel dates.
This clearly illustrates an error in management or memory, causing confusion and a resulting problem. So a mix-up is a specific type of error, one stemming from confusion or lack of clarity, and it often requires a quick fix or an apology. All right, now for the fluency builders. These are the phrases that separate a competent English speaker from a truly native-sounding conversationalist.
They're essential. Idioms are shortcuts to conveying complex meaning quickly and naturally, often linking back to cultural images or historical concepts.
Mastering these means you aren't just translating words, you're engaging with the culture of the language.
So let's start with spill the beans. We saw this used when discussing the new project at work.
The meaning is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
To reveal a secret or disclose confidential information. Now, why spill the beans?
Well, the common theory is that it dates back to ancient Greece, where votes were cast by dropping beans into jars. To accidentally knock over the jar to spill the beans was to reveal the results prematurely.
That historical image is key to understanding its tone. The phrase implies that the secret was revealed either accidentally or unexpectedly.
Right. It's light and conversational, Generally used for minor or moderately important secrets, not life or death situations.
And the application in the dialogue was perfect. My boss finally spilled the beans about the new project we've been assigned. This tells us that the project was a secret or a piece of closely held information until that moment.
Right. If someone tells you about a surprise party ahead of time, they've spilled the beans. The alternative, telling the secret, is functional, but spilling the beans adds so much more character and color.
Our second phrase is hit the sack. This is a non-negotiable phrase you will need for those exhausted evenings.
Hit the sack means simply to go to bed or go to sleep. It's an intensely casual, informal way of expressing your need for rest.
And why the sack?
Historically, beds for soldiers or the very poor were sometimes literally sacks filled with straw. So hitting the sack is going to hit that makeshift bedding.
The strength of this phrase lies in its informality and its finality. When you say you are going to hit the sack, you are communicating that you are done for the day.
Definitely. You wouldn't use this phrase to excuse yourself from a formal dinner. You would say, I think I will turn in for the night.
And the example in the dialogue followed the discussion of intense work. Honestly, I can't wait to hit the sack tonight. It communicates that you are tired and looking forward to immediate rest.
And remember, this is exclusively for use with friends, family, or people you know well.
Our third phrase works perfectly alongside the second and explains the necessity of hitting the sack. Burn the midnight oil.
Burn the midnight oil means to work late into the night, often well past usual bedtime hours. It is used when you need to put in extra difficult, focused effort.
As we mentioned, it originates from the use of oil lamps late at night before electricity was common. And this idiom is excellent because it instantly communicates dedication and sacrifice without sounding boastful. The dialogue application was, I've been burning the midnight oil to get a head start.
It highlights a sustained late-night effort. Students often burn the midnight oil studying for exams. Engineers burn the midnight oil to meet project deadlines. It always implies high effort and lack of sleep.
To give you a comparison, if you said, I've been working hard, that's fine, but I've been burning the midnight oil tells a much richer story about when that hard work happened.
It's an immediate visual shortcut.
And finally, a phrase for describing extreme environmental misfortune. Soaked to the bone.
Soaked to the bone is a brilliant piece of descriptive, hyperbolic language. It means to be extremely, miserably wet.
The emphasis is on the fact that the water has reached through all your clothing layers, down to your skin, and perhaps making you cold. It is meant to convey a state of total saturation.
Right.
In the dialogue, the second friend used it after getting caught in the downpour. I was soaked to the bone by the time I got back. Notice the verb phrase, caught in the downpour. This idiom is almost always associated with unexpected heavy rain.
If you are merely damp or wet, you need a towel. If you are soaked to the bone, you need a hot shower, dry clothes, and probably a cup of tea.
It's a very visceral descriptor that conveys misery and total wetness, and native speakers rely on it heavily when describing unexpected rain or accidental full-body immersion in water.
It's much more impactful than saying, I was very wet.
Much more. We've analyzed the structural elements, the silly opener, the transitions from work to pets, and the specific vocabulary and idioms. But the source material doesn't just fade out.
No, it transitions into a fun debate, a crucial conversational hook that encourages continued engagement and language practice for the listener.
The team cat versus team dog debate.
A classic.
Why end with a debate?
Well, because a casual, low-stakes debate encourages the listener to practice forming and sharing an opinion using comparative language and arguing amicably. It's a superb linguistic exercise. If you can argue your preference clearly, you are fluent.
And the sources nicely lay out the core arguments for both sides. And we need to specifically analyze the comparative grammar used in these arguments. Let's look at team dog arguments first, which center on connection and utility, and see the language used.
Right. Dogs are described as more loyal, more playful, and always happy to see you. That comparative structure, more X, is essential here.
They are presented as offering better companionship and exercise.
Furthermore, they can be trained to do amazing things. The language focuses on positive, active attributes. For instance, walking a dog is a great way to stay active and meet new people. This connects the dog's qualities to a personal benefit.
Okay, now let's look at the opposing view, the team cat arguments, which focus on independence and ease. The structure shifts to emphasizing less need and more self-sufficiency.
Cats are championed as more independent, less maintenance, and having unique personalities. The practical benefits use contrast. They take care of themselves and don't need constant attention, making them perfect for people with busy lives.
So the language here emphasizes words like independent and low maintenance as virtues.
Exactly. For entertainment, they are described as curious and playful and great at keeping your home pest-free. They are presented as the easier choice.
The contrast is clear. Dogs offer energy and loyalty, requiring more effort and time, while cats offer independence and grace, requiring less effort and attention.
Both are valid viewpoints, and the structure models how to clearly articulate that difference using comparative adjectives.
And a key element of this section is practicing language for contrast. You could say dogs are more affectionate, but cats are less demanding.
Or, cats are better for apartment living, while dogs require more space. Mastering this specific grammatical structure allows you to express nuanced opinions rather than just stating facts.
And that's the crucial takeaway from the structure of this ending. The friends acknowledge that ultimately it comes down to personal preference.
This models how to end a low-stakes debate amicably and respectfully, rather than trying to force one opinion over the other. The goal of the debate isn't to win, but to share.
Right.
And the final brilliant conversational technique highlighted here is the closing prompt for the listener.
Ending a conversation with a question.
Yes, such as, are you team cat or team dog? This is a powerful way to invite continued engagement and further language practice, pushing the listener to apply the comparative language and opinions they just heard in the privacy of their own thoughts.
It ensures the conversation continues even after the speakers stop talking. We've covered a remarkable amount of ground in this deep dive into conversational fluency. We meticulously analyze the structural components of a great casual conversation.
Mastering the seamless transition from the silly opener to serious work news, then to lighthearted pet anecdotes, and finally to minor daily annoyances.
And we extracted and deeply contextualized 4 high-value vocabulary items: daunting, uneventful, pamper, and mix-up, and 4 essential fluency phrases: spill the beans, hit the sack, burn the midnight oil, and soak to the bone.
And our mission wasn't just to define words, but to show their function, their grammatical structure, and their emotional weight in a real-life exchange.
Right.
To be truly fluent and well-informed in a language means understanding not just dictionary definitions, but understanding when and how to use casual, idiomatic phrases like burning the midnight oil, or strong adjectives like daunting, to communicate accurately and quickly.
This knowledge provides the shortcut to sounding truly native and participating dynamically in conversation.
It does.
So we learned 8 specific high-value linguistic tools today. We saw that the blueprint of a good conversation relies heavily on shared low-stakes humor and the acknowledgement of minor misery. Now for your final thought. When trying to achieve native fluency, is the biggest challenge mastering the vocabulary itself, the formal definition of a word like daunting? Or is it mastering the cultural comfort level required to share your own minor failures and self-deprecating humor? Something for you to mull or explore on your own as you incorporate these new phrases into your daily conversations.
Until next time, keep exploring the sources, connecting the dots, and practicing your fluency builders.